check cash, and I need my money line. Why check cash, and I need my money line. Why check cash, and I need my money line. Watch out for those who surround you, need no funny kind. You can't see what's on my brain, I live inside my mind. Out of space and out of sight, you need me in my line. Need no fakes, don't need no phonies, no, no, no. Need no snakes, no only homies, down for show. Go, 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 get a book and get the front and we load up and roll, roll, roll. I got kids, yeah, I got staff, I make a little need more, more, more. I sell records, you sell packs, not on my level, no, no, no. I'm a pop star, I'm a rock star, I'm a winner. Think I'm not hard, you smoke rock, car waste, man, why you dumb? I'm with airline, we on airlines like we on the run. I'm with Tay, girls run up on me, they done. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah, 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 yeah. Why check cash, and I need my ass. Yeah, yeah. Why check cash, and I need my money line. Why check cash, and I need my money line. Why check cash, and I need my.
Child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I die, I'ma ride for the squad, let her ties in the hearse. I've been on a vibe, kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind. Then I come alive in the night to realize I'm in the middle of the time of my life. I'm never so packed for the stack, never lied on the rap, got a bag from the way that I write it. Queen looking Tyson, do that ass survive, doing 80 to the house, then I hit her to the sky, change haters on a tirade, talking to the grip in the face, be still, let that hate stuff fade. We all want the same, we all want a meal in the safe, I wanna live like I'm trying to reach enlightenment. Trail spill from my lips, feel big from the bip, take a sip till I pass out. Try and get grip, but it don't make sense, cause you can lose life on this fast route. Yeah, turn thoughts to a cash cow, I might flip that to the glass house. I don't need the accolades, I'm in love with the chase. I just wanna eat, save a spot at the table. Beats with the slap, pin myself on the map. You long with the wind, but we knowing that it's cap. 5-hour flights, couple nights at the flat. To be real, couldn't see me making moves while I'm at. I'm still on the grind, limit time when I chat. I'm burning down sage, keep the demons away. When I write it, give a piece of myself to the page. I don't do it for the praise, love, that's just how I'm made.
Truth in the glass in the mirror,
yeah.
Do it at me, old man, tryna pass in the fear. You're the first one to talk, but the last one to hear. Eyes blurry, but I couldn't see that, and he cleared down. Start to feel like I'm on one. Settle in, I'll be here for the long run. I'm a slave for the cash, got snakes in the grass, no brakes on the ad, but it's all fun. We done seen it all, heard it all. Heard enough, give me space before I murder y'all. 10 bad here, I'ma curve them all. 12 missed calls, and I still made a curtain call. Here to light it up, lighten up. Hear him talking, they ain't right enough, tighten up. Everything that I came for, I left with. I don't bang sets, I just bang on the set list. Going past supper when I came for the breakfast. Put me in your prayers, I might put you on the guest list. Young, tell me reckless. Gold in my soul, got the same on the necklace.
Light it up, light it up. Ah, light it up, light it up. Well, well. Oh, light it up, light it up. Ah, light it up, light it up. Well, well.
You say that all is good. You say that all is great. I say that y'all can't hang. And that's cause y'all seem fake. That's cause y'all seem. You say that all is good. You say that all is great. I say that y'all can't hang. And that's cause y'all seem fake. That's cause y'all seem. Hope for a minute you'd notice me, but you didn't. Try living out a dream, but got caught up in something different. Think I'm probably just a piston and inner workings of engines. Put my pen down for a second, end up watching it as it trembling. Cause I've been trembling, look around and I'm feeling frightened. Put my head down for a minute, pick it up and then watch this life. Pretended righteous and realize that my evil just be something that's a part of me. Partly I'm keeping see-through. So you can watch your bits and pieces when I eat you and see my inner demons when I scream and try and reboot. But peace, dude. Walk away and throw my deuces up. This track's from my brother who died, who never knew me much. For that, who trashed me, all I threw was love. For my moms who always put up with my stupid stuff, grew me up, placed a kiss on every single bruise and cut. For suburban stoners getting high and making Lucy runs. For everybody who threw me love, I'm here to throw it back. It's that strange cat from the cul-de-sac trying to flow around. So exact, extract my mental, straight from my pencil onto page, over instrumentals. I'm kinda feeling like a sage. Get your incidentals and go and throw them all I made. I'm getting paid. I think it's time I go my way. This is the anthem, baby. Let's get the burning up the sage. Let's get the dancing, baby. Cause now we're hanging out with girls. You say that all is good. You say that all is great. I say that y'all can't hang. And that's cause y'all seem fake. That's cause y'all seem. You say that all is good. You say that all is great. I say that y'all can't hang. And that's cause y'all seem fake. That's cause y'all seem. Guess it's another rap on printer paper that you'll never see. I ain't past the pastors, I'm passing sticks with the scent of weed. Till my past catch up, my mask collapse and I'm left with me. My dad's asking the passion to be the death of me, but my dad's a bastard and I'm the captain of the 7 seas. But maybe that's ass backwards. I'm with a legend speech. I'm a cat bagging, my pack is all to the left of me. We passing Dutchies to the right and say we living recklessly. But I don't know why I say I smoke, cause now I never do. Guess I got a lot of stoner friends and think they hella cool, but who the hell is you? Guess that's the question needed. Wish you could break it down in the lesson and find the better pieces. But I'm a college dropout, questioning my message thesis. I'm off the pot now, thinking that's the way I better keep it. I lost my thought, now my brain derailed and we're off the tracks. My mama wished I was a poet. But what you got was right. You say that all is good. You say that all is great. You say it all can change. But it all seems fake. But it all seems. You say it all is good. You say it all is great. You say it all can change. But it all seems fake. But it all seems.
Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Money line, I'ma run it every time. Give me mine, going up, need no decline. Yeah. Watch it, cash your yen, I need mine.
Slow.
Yeah, I'm watching the rise, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked, cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride, this one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife, could've left 1,000 times just so by my side. This one's for the grind, I knew it would happen, just had the strength in my mind. To the videos, they thought I was a black guy. That's hard to get over. I'm foreigner in the sport, but I'm fully devoted. I don't take it for granted that the door's been open. I knew I was different, I knew I was chosen. A breadwinner, but I'm soft-spoken. Authentic like I'm 5950 and there's no cap. Let's have a toast to that. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Let's have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the real. Let's have a toast for the real ones. Have a toast for the
Hello, everyone. I hope all is doing well. It is Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern. I am Security Boss, and this is Unsolicited. And we're here with the fourth session of the Standard. And I am so glad that we're here. Today, we got an outstanding show planned for you all. And I just want you all to stay tuned, and we're going to share it all with you. But for now, I'm going to bring up my co-host, Jedi Mike.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, sir. How are you today?
Cool. Doing good.
Good. So, Jedi, before we get started, we're going to say hello to a few people in the chat. And then we're going to just talk about, we're going to just have conversation. We're just going to talk about this thing because we're this whole world here, our community included, we're on a very downward spiral.
Yes, ma'am.
Downward spiral. And a lot of it will be contributed to what we're going to talk about today, which is free will. It's a lot of it's going to be contributed to that. And we're going to talk about it. Before we get started, though, I'm going to say hello to a few people that are in the chat and remind everyone when you're coming into the live, make sure you're giving us the thumbs up. We will appreciate it. And we're going to have a good show today. Now, all of you that don't know exactly how the Standard works, it's not a very long show. We want to just drop interesting points, things that you can hold on to, and you won't mind going back to watch. This is a little different. We don't stay involved in a 4-hour live and 20 million people talking and giving opinions. This is more of the Standard. What we're doing is we're setting a standard, a successful standard, meaning if you do these things or you put these things in place, you may have a chance of being successful. There's no guarantee, but we just giving you some pointers on what this particular time, what Jedi has done and his beliefs and myself. We're just putting things in place and hoping that someone that maybe needs something, or asking these questions, it can help them. So anyway, Stephen Day. Hello, he says, what's going on, family? It's good to see you. Black Man Unfiltered, he's showing support. Hey, Black Man. Eugene Steele. Hey, how are you? Listen, Mr. Steele, you love that song, right? We got the whole song for you. Cam, how are you, Cam? Cam, that was something last night, right? Happy Sunday to you also. Black Man, listen, I love your support. Thank you for being there last night. Also, I, of course, didn't see all that until later on this morning, but thank you for being there also. And we appreciate you all. And again, once you're coming into the live, make sure you're giving us a thumbs up. Today, we are speaking on free will. So, Jedi, go ahead and get us started.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be talking about free will, and then we're going to be transitioning, talking about decision making, that which comes with the ability to have free will. And yeah, thank you guys, at least just for tuning into the chat and everything. And hopefully I can at least contribute some in the conversation that and follow up, the tremendous people that came before me the last several weeks and stuff. To shout to Cam, Shiki, and Chris from Bloomy Ebony. You guys did a fantastic job, and I hope I'm able to follow. So yeah, I'll be talking about free will. So free will is the idea that we are able to have some choice in how we act, and assumes that we are free to choose our behavior. Now, with that comes with another definition we call being self-determined, right? We feel like that we have a choice of our own actions and our own behavior, especially in this modern day world. And I want to kind of go into the more deeper, point of it, because again, this topic a lot gets kind of misconstrued, because a lot of us think that our actions are somehow influenced by other people, but really, then yet at the same time we claim that we're truly free. Not and also now on the day of of Juneteenth, the ironic that we're having this conversation today. But yeah, but going to more deeper, like a person's free will and philosophy is more the supposed power, the capacity of a human to make a decision or perform an action independently. Then I wanted to emphasize the word, perform an action independently, because then that you having control of your own actions, meaning that there really is no any type of person that has any type of accountability of your own actions other than you.
Okay,
Right?
slow down right there, because you just said a whole lot, because that's where we struggle. You just said free will is the ability to, another word for it actually is independence. You're doing something in your will, that you're exercising your independence, and you're doing something that your own self has said, this is what I'm going to do. The second half of that is, now that I've done it, only I should be held accountable for it. And see, that's where we fall off the roof at. That's where we fall off into the mud, because we don't get that part. We do the acting, and we take on the response. No, we don't even take on the responsibility. We take on the responsibility of doing something. But when it comes to accountability, we drive it right off the cliff. So let's slow down and talk about that, because that is a very important part of free will, accountability. So let's talk about the accountability part of it. When you're telling someone, or when you're saying, or when someone as an adult, we're talking about adults, is saying to you, it's my free will to do this. I do what I want. And you say, oh, so now you have to account for this. What are we saying to them?
So basically, in that point of saying, well, I can do whatever I want, it going to the point where you're going to accept the benefits and consequences of that, free will, that you say, I can do whatever I want. Again, it's these things that about accountability, that we only like it when it's applicable to us in a sense that it's for our favor, not for our supposed detriment, and meaning of self-reflection. Because people think of it as a bad thing, because it's not. It's a very difficult thing for us to actually self-reflect, because again, going back to Lumanity's point, for order you to to get better, you have to constantly see what you're doing wrong, and that takes self-reflection. So when it comes with the accountability part, a lot of people don't want to take it, because they say, well, I can do it. This, and I have free will, I can do whatever I want. But then when you get the consequences of that, it was like, oh no, it's because of XYZ other variables aside from myself. If you're going to claim saying you have that free will, then claim the whole definition and the whole part of it. It's just the same thing of me claiming I have a home. Right, I have a house, and I pay the bills, all stuff, but then I also have to take care of the maintenance. I have to take care of sometimes if things are going wrong, whatever. And if it goes astray, my name's on the lease. Hey, it's my responsibility, for me having the right and the benefits of having a home. But in the same time, if I'm not doing the part of what comes with it, meaning taking care of it, being accountable. Hey, if something goes wrong, it's on my butt, not anybody else's. I live here, no one else. So it's just like, that's the thing I think a lot of people get so caught up on about it. They just want to pick and choose and not claim the whole definition.
Okay, so let's keep moving on. We're going to come back to it, because accountability is huge, because for some reason, like you just said, we only want to take account for the things that happen that are good, or things that make us look better, or the things that we want. But when accountability lands on, oh, I didn't want that. I didn't really want to have a baby. I didn't want to be married. I didn't want to spend all my money. When it lands on something that may be negative, then all of a sudden I went in with free will, but now other people are now controlling me, or controlling my outcomes. So we're going to stop. Well, go ahead. You don't have to. I was going to let you continue on with free will, and we were going to come back. I was just up accountability before we go on, but you go ahead. This is you. Excuse me. Go ahead.
No, you're right, because going to the point of accepting things good is also accepting things that are bad. But you accepting the things that are bad is not really for your detriment, but it's for your self-improvement. It goes to the point, going to also to another explanation comes with free will. again, I'm not trying to get into more of the biblical side of it, but just if you guys just stay with me just for like 2 seconds, I'll go into it because just people think, well, it's God's will, things, why I do what I do. But then some people make the explanation, well, if God say we're truly free, then why he let bad things happen? Well, if you just stay with me for just like 2 seconds, it's just saying this leads to like biblical explanation, like why God allows bad things to happen. Like if we start with the first account of murder in Genesis, it's talking about how Cain inherited intentions of killing his brother Abel, but completely outside of God's will, right? And despite a clear warning, Cain still chose to kill Abel in fit of jealousy and rage. This is an example of showing that mankind was created with free will, right? And the choice to make the decision both good and bad, right? And therefore, like one of the biblical reasons why God allows bad things to happen is that people that have the freedom to live and act according to their own decisions. While God desires for men to live in peace with him and others, our own choices are the cause of much pain and grief, right? And going to the point at which you're saying, security boss, about accepting things that are bad, we should not exempt from that because it goes to about trials and tribulations, right? A trial comes as as they all do for all of us, right? But they test the strength of our faith, or just as individuals, right? This process can be likened like just as similar to back in the old days of like silversmith when they're like refining silver, and and when they're the heat is intensifying, the dross rises in the surface and they remove it to make the silver more pure, right? So it's with our faith that in every trial we are tested, we are refined and make sure stronger than before. So when you exempt yourself from accepting the bad that comes in with the free will, you then are preventing yourself from being strengthened or being reforged, just as I said in the example of being silver, right? The process of that being forged had to go through stages. And so as free will comes, it comes with accountability. We have to accept the things of the good and the bad. And more importantly, we don't like to exclude it because unfortunately in our modern day, society, we like fairy tales, right? We like to have things of, we like to, the end goal instead of the journey of us getting to a point where we all claim we want to be. So that's why I think the point we have to accept the things that come with the bad things of coming us with free will, because then you exempt yourself from self-improvement.
So it sounds like to me, there's a test that's going on. This test, if we don't accept this test and pass the test, we will be continually tried by the fire in order to bring us into what we call submission to the will for our life. But so often we miss it, and we continually have to continually have these tests, and we're still calling it free will, which it is, but we're still missing the mark. So once we got past the accountability and the independence of it, how does, as a young person, because you're a young person on a college campus, this was your situation or still is, how does free will play in your life and becoming the man that you are supposed to be? The man, and then you're the husband, and then I'm sure you want to be the dad, all of those things. So as the standard, and I called you out as a standard because I see you on the right, you are on the right path. You're receiving these tests daily. I can see it. But instead of you not taking account for it, you're saying, okay, this is what I need to do. You're seeking help. You ask for advice. You're allowing people to pour into your life to have set examples. So how hard is it being on a college campus and being that standard of how to be that man?
Well, so thank you. I appreciate that. But one thing I want to kind of answer that question in terms of in a chronological point of my career. I'm about to be graduating in the fall. Is that when I was a freshman going in, there you think the whole thing about the culture shock that now you're free, you're out of parents' house and everything, right? And there comes with a lot of freedom that with that, because now you can go move freely. You're not in a structure. Like no one's not knocking on your door saying, hey, have you went to class today? If you miss class, you miss class. But over time, you realize that with that freedom, some people become lost because then now it's like, okay, I have so many options I can do. I don't know what path I'm taking. Right. But then so you get like drunken off of your sense of independence, which, to a point where now people don't know how to make the right decision because there's so many options for them. but instead of making the right decisions when they're staying focused. So the point I'm going to is talking about is distraction. A lot of people in college campuses, or just as more my generation, right, where there's a steady state of distraction, right, especially much as this, information age, we're becoming the most, form of information and things that we have access to than we didn't have before. And so when we have like try and make better decisions, we're like, oh well, I want to do this, just want to have fun, or I just wanted to do this, or not go to class today, or do something else, or go to this party or anything in this environment, and not knowing the consequences that came from that, because before I didn't have that as an option, now I do. So as a college I'll be on a college campus, I can say there's a lot of distractions that end up tarnishing, you making a positive decisions as you develop, as an individual, as a young adult. And for me, I got to say, for me, it was very difficult, in the last 5 years, where it's like I had to go through a lot of bad decisions that I make, and only me alone, that I had to accept. That got me to the point now that I had to learn the hard way instead of just the easy way of saying, hey, I'm not going to do this. And over time, I realized I had to, make sure I was not being influenced by a certain group of friends or demographic of people that was really not for my benefit, but for theirs. And again, that took a lot of the bad decisions, and then also bad relationships that I had to cut off friends, I had to cut off people, to a point where now I feel like I was a lone wolf, for a time, I thought, right? Because then you're thinking that, well, you feel like you're making the right decisions, but you're alone. Why is that? Because when you feel like you're doing the right thing, attend God times to reveal yourself is that, hey, he's pulling you away from an environment that you've been in for so long, that's keeping you in bondage. And now I see a lot of young adults in that space in college campuses, and they learn really too late, because then they'll be influenced where, okay, let me just go drink, let me go party, do something else, or get, sleep with this person. And then with that, it comes with a lot of consequences of that decisions.
So listen, I'm going to read Mr. Steele's comment, because this is where I was getting ready to go anyway, and we're going to talk about it. Eugene Steele says, there are so many Black women who have this mindset where they are experiencing their free will and seem not to realize the consequences. Now, when he says things like that, what comes to me is the feminist movement, obviously, right? And all these influences, the influences are social media.
Yes, ma'am.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all these other things. That's what comes to me. Now, you mentioned options. These women today are being more liberal with their bodies, having sex and things of that nature. I heard a young girl say the other day that you have really, y'all lost it. Y'all are really off if y'all think that women can't have sex anymore without emotion. I heard a woman say that. She said, because they out there, not me, this is her exact words, not me, but they're out there having sex, and women are doing this without emotion. They don't realize that having sex is an emotional, spiritual thing. And they don't realize what they're carrying with them when they do that. Not only is this a distraction that could literally take them out of here, but what do you think about that with women being this liberal with their bodies and having sex? And what is it something that we can say to these young ladies to make them like snap out of it? All these options that you think you have, they're not really options. They're actually pulling you down. They're actually taking over your mind. They're corrupting you. But how do we do that? How do we get that message to those ladies?
I'll just respond simply. These violent delights will have violent ends.
Say it again.
I said these violent delights will have violent ends.
These violent delights, wow, will have violent ends. Ooh, we need to put that on a t-shirt.
Dearly beloved.
That is
hashtag Westworld. I got
that was
go ahead.
I said that's good. Violent delights. Right. That is good. Now, Hey, Robbie, how are you doing? It's a few people that came in after we got started. Hello, Robbie, Red Lipstick Vibes, Neil Moses. It's good to see you guys. And listen, happy Father's Day to anyone that I missed. Daryl Long, it's good to see you. Erica, it's good to see you guys. And thank you all for being here. I want to hear more about this because that's one of the huge things. And I'm talking to women because I'm a woman, and the Bloom and Ebony, how are you? And I happen to know that and some woman can tell me different if you feel as though, this is real. But this is what's happening to our young people, the younger ladies. This is happening to the college students in the event to have or to take control or to have the free will with the independence and doing what they want at their own discretion. This is what they're doing. They're making a decision to have these multiple sexual partners, but they're thinking they're doing it and without any attachments or without any emotions. And I'm telling you, ladies, it's not true. It is definitely affecting the way you think. It's going to affect the way you speak. It's actually shaping you. And far as men go, I can't speak on what it does to a man. You would be the best to tell me how these influences have changed you. Hey, Jay Prince, how you doing? It's good to see you. Happy Father's Day, Jay Prince. It would be interesting for you to tell us how those different influences influenced you, or maybe got you off of your path. But I don't know that. But I'm speaking to the women about the different influences because it's too often the life you want to lead is not one of violation, destruction, disorder, or no order. That's not the life you want to lead. You want to live a life of order. You want to be successful in life. And I'm telling you, you can't do that. And this is me talking. Y'all can come in and say whatever y'all want to say. We'll get there in just a moment. But I don't think that we can do that successfully being too liberal or as a woman, having many sexual partners. Now, there are things you can do to turn your life around, but what are you thinking? What are you thinking, Jedi Mike?
Well, again, going to what we're talking about along with free will, which is also poor decision making, that basically gets us where we are in our community. It goes to the point what leads to making a bad decision is when you're determining something, an action or your behavior based off of emotion instead of reason, right? I say that experiencing frustration, excitement, anger, joy, whatever, is a fundamental part of daily human experience, right? And while these emotions have a meaningful role in our lives, you probably don't know is that there are emotions during moments of like our peak anger, happiness, whatever, can hinder our ability from making good decisions and being, wise in terms of how we move about, especially when it comes to decisions we make when it pertains to our bodies, right? Deciding for you to disrespect your bodies as men, being lacking sexual discipline, women to basically give the access of your womb to a person that you had no criteria for other than he's cute, he had or whatever it might be. Again, it goes to that point that the violent delights will have violent ends. This culture, I'm saying westernized culture, have been perpetuating this narrative is that that you can make all these decisions without any type of consequences, and that if it is anything happen, it's because something else or whatever, anything like that. We took away actual consequences of our decisions when it comes to sex. Especially when you talk to about sex being a godly thing. Sex is sacred. The thing is, and sex itself is nothing demonic. When everything, the problem is us as westernized society or even as this man, we perverted it. We perverted it, something that's sacred, and with that comes to a point where now nothing, something that's breeding life or breeding fruit, what you say, is now being perverted. Now again, then who you have to blame when we have children being born into dysfunction? We have a lot of oops babies, oops, it's instead of them being being the conditions of in a stable household. The whole thing about we don't choose our parents. Yeah, we can't choose our parents, but the people before us can say, hey, we're not immortal. There's gonna be someone here before when we die. right? So when we continue this legacy and not knowing, hey, we want the world to be a better place, okay, then we're gonna have engaged in this intercourse that have the possibility, regardless of protection, bills or anything like that. It can lead to the option of, hey, there might be life that might breed from this 20-minute interaction between you and me. And if you think that maliciously, then again, oops.
So listen, let me go back and read Robbie's comment. Robbie says, I don't think, quite honestly, no one ever needs to know your bedroom activity. People need to learn silence and privacy. Robbie, let me share something with you. You're exactly right. And it don't even have to come. It doesn't even have to happen in the bedroom. Sometimes it's in the car.
Dearly beloved.
That's how liberal they've gotten. In the car. It could be behind the dumpster. It could be in the bathroom at the club. You name all the places. Nobody really has to know it, but I'm trying to tell you something. You don't have to tell anybody about it. It shows. It all comes out in the things that they say. It comes out in the behavior. The modesty is gone. Usually with women, there's no femininity. They don't even know their place because guess what? They've been so headstrong and so much of free will and had so much activity and know everything. You know what? They're taking the place of the men. So this is what our men have been talking about the whole time. And this is not what I want for our ladies, young girls. I mean, if they had a choice, if you knew, you can't know everything, but it ain't all about the bedroom. And I'm not looking for numbers, and you don't even have to give me a visual because it always comes out in the behavior. It really does, whether you want to admit it or not. But guess what? We're going to drop the link, and I want to hear more from you, Robbie. I appreciate you so much. I want to hear more because it ain't hard to tell a woman that's been used. It ain't hard to tell women that's been participating in sneaky links. It's not, because not only is there bedroom action out there without us asking, they're also the way they dress, the way they carry themselves. It's a lot. It's a lot. And that's why I'm speaking to the women on that particular. That's why I spoke to women. And I want more for women than that, because I think every woman deserves to have a man, because I'm always promoting husbands and marriage. Y'all know that. So I think every woman deserves to have a man who loves her, who truly loves her, and that she can be an asset to, and she can be the woman she needs to be. But here's the thing I learned from last night, guys, and Jedi, forgive me. We have a very poor perception of what a traditional feminine woman looks like. I'm a woman of a particular age, and I got good sense. I've lived some life, and I can tell people exactly what I mean by that. And I can hold my frame while doing so. And I will not be shamed into not doing that because you have an idea of how a traditional woman should be. So I just wanted to share that. So I just wanted you, Robbie, what you don't agree with? What you don't agree with? I never lied. I don't agree. I know women that are feminine, but freaks on the low. They all can be. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What do you mean? Freaks with their husbands, though, right? Or you mean just freaks with a whole lot of different men? Okay. If you think that's a secret. And then too, guess what? This feminine, I agree with you because, but I would say you can be a freak with your husband, but not liberally with a whole lot of men and think that somebody doesn't know. It doesn't. If it works like that with you and that's what they're telling you and you agree with it, I'm going to have to accept what you say has been your experience. But in my experience, women who have been too liberal and have had too many encounters that were not favorable and never came out with the husband or is still in the midst of it, it messes with your mindset. It changes who you are.
And just to smallly add on to that, a lot can show what you were in freshman year to when you were in senior year. Like all of us are graduating. I can tell you the one person we know by name, by who's known on the campus, like from going around, messing around and stuff. And we hear how they turn out and like at the end of their senior year regretting, crime, maybe have to drop out or potentially all that stuff. Time reveals itself. Again, I just like a lot of these things is just then you don't have a track record. Even the people you don't even know. We are watching. People are watching how you move. Even if you don't know them by name, they know who, like in terms of your spirit or about you. how you like move on campus and stuff. I'm telling you. And the thing is, but the thing about that too, it goes to the thing like we lack a lot of self-awareness. It's just people we interact with. It just when we don't ask the right questions, we don't have the right conversations, we tend to be blinded on certain behaviors that exhibit that what you're talking about of them, moving around so freely, especially on a college campus, like, and especially it's for us, the Black people on a predominantly white campus. Black people are nosy, so it's like we know, like, if you think we don't know who you messing with, we do.
No, it's that influence. It's that social media thing you talk about. The real Erica says, if you have discernment, you can smell it. Oh my. Oh, I don't know about that, Erica. That sounds like I'm not even gonna go that far, but I can agree with you if that, but I'm just saying to you that women, it's very important for us to be more selective about what we do. And it really is. And to have this free will is what we call it, and be liberal about how we use ourselves. I'm gonna say use ourselves. We shouldn't ever appear to be used. We have Robbie already ready to come up, but you can bring her up, and I'm gonna make sure Jedi is done. Jedi, are you done with your presentation? Because I don't want to take you off the left.
No, I hope I did a good job.
You did an outstanding job. Don't think you did. You did an outstanding job. Blooming Evans says extremely important. Hello, Robbie.
Hi.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. I was trying to fix something on here because I had to be on my phone real quick. I can't stay, but I love the show. I've been enjoying it. It's really good. I had to come up here to support you and Jedi Mike.
Thank you.
But as far as the whole thing with sexuality, I hear where you're coming from, but I respectfully disagree. There are plenty of women that are stone cold freaks. That's why men are always saying they want a lady in the street but a freak in the sheets. There are women that pull that off, and I think the generality is that if a woman is doing her thing, then everybody must know. And that's not true. There's plenty of women that you look at today that you'll respect them and hold them in high regard. But if you get to know what they got going on, you'll be like, ooh, girl. Ooh, you did what, child? You do what, girl? No, girl. So, it definitely, free will is important, but it comes down to having full accountability and autonomy with what free will is. If you're going to be out here being a freak and presenting yourself like a lady, then don't leave any evidence of your freaktivity. Don't be having babies everywhere. I don't know, it's that librarian security boys that have the glasses on and, the button down with the cardigan and the paisley shirt that be out here participating in bad behavior.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, and I know that very well goes on, but what I'm telling you is that it also can be identified, although you may think that no one knows or that it's a secret, and she may not leave droppings behind, but she could be possibly, and I bet she's definitely emotionally detached. She probably can't have a good relationship with anyone because she is emotionally detached. It actually comes out. It actually definitely comes out in your behaviors and your communication. And who knows how deep it can go. But guess what? A married woman can be a freak. That's just being liberated with your sexuality. So I'm not disagreeing with that. And I'm not even talking about that. I was basically talking about young women that were on college campuses who are more liberal with their sexual partners and have no amount of wisdom, haven't lived any amount of life, and they think that they're in control or something. You're not in control of something. These things, having sex emotionally changes you. The different men, guess what? It could be, I don't want to get into that, but guess what? Because it all depends too. It could be men that actually took care of the woman in the bedroom or the young girl, or it could be I don't want to use any names, but it could be a man who gave it to her so rough that it turned her out. I don't mean rough like that. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm just saying, sometimes younger women are attracted to older men. If you get with an older man, he shows you things that you've never seen before, especially if you're being more liberal, he's going to turn you out as a young person. And that changes your mindset about sex, about men, and everything. So all that plays a major role in it. But some women, younger girls nowadays, are going into relationships thinking that they have that type of control over their bodies and their emotions. Like, I'm not going to be emotionally attached. And having sex is an emotional spiritual thing for women. That's all I'm saying.
And I agree with you, but I also agree that, and excuse my son in the background, you know, he has autism, so that is. You know, I also feel that some girls go to college campuses already emotionally detached.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
Oh
Yeah,
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I don't think that
That's very true.
I don't think that it's the sex or the sexual interaction. But I mean, I get it. We want our girls to be chaste and virtuous, but we aren't really spreading that same message to our sons. We're not telling our sons to be chaste and virtuous too. And I know you're speaking to the woman because you're a woman, but I'm a mother of a daughter and a son. So for me, that message has to go to both genders. Don't have sex with nobody. Because if we're just going to talk about the sex in and of itself, even when I was on college, which was not that long ago, there was some girls that could be on college campuses doing what they do and keeping themselves together. And there were other young women that couldn't do so, and they were caught up and they had babies in their first semester. So it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a fine line. And when we're talking about standards, sex always gets put up in the forefront, I feel, to kind of shame women, because it always winds up being low-key a shaming tactic. Oh, well, if you're doing whatever, if a man is acting in the same manner, doesn't it show on them too?
Robbie, you kind of fading out, but I think I heard you. You're exactly right. But no, not over here. Here, everybody is, we do both. Accountability partners. Can you hear me okay? So, Jedi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so what I was saying is that Robbie, I don't know what happened, but we're both sides accountability partners over here. Sex for a woman is a very emotional thing, and we can't negate that. I say the same thing for a man, but I don't know how it emotionally affects a man, and that's just me being real. But I tell men all day, every day, just in case maybe someone doesn't know, have some discipline with yourself. I say it all the time. And if you can't have the discipline with yourself, you have to pick and choose who you actually sleeping with or laying with, because when those consequences come, it needs to be someone that you don't mind having a child with. And I say this all the time. So for me, it's both. B, how are you? Thank you so much for your $4.99 super chat. Hey, security boss, I love the show. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Robbie. Robbie phone got disconnected, but Robbie, I understand what you're saying. But no, I'm accountability partners on both sides. There's no shaming for a woman. I am a woman. Remember, I always use myself for the example first. So I take accountability for my life first and foremost. There you go. First and foremost, before I say anything about any other woman, I always use myself as an example, because I too was one of those people who made a mistake and I accounted for it, but I accounted for it all the way around. And what I'm doing is trying to set an example for women, because I'm a woman. I don't know spiritually or emotionally what happens to men, but I do know men can get caught up with babies they don't want. And seeing that is the case, they need to have the same discipline, the discipline from the beginning, not to even get involved with women that they don't want to have or don't think that it's okay to have a child with. So I hope you hear me. I don't know if you can hear me or not. You can hear me. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I have no idea emotionally what it does to a man, but I do know that if you're the type of man that don't want any kids, you should not be having sex. You shouldn't even be going over to the house. And that's what I always say. Even visit. I don't care how enticing she is. I don't care how agreeable she is. If you're not ready to commit or have a child with someone, you shouldn't even be over their house. You shouldn't be in the backseat of the car. You shouldn't be playing that game. That free will that you're exercising is going to come with a consequence. And that's what I'm talking about. That's where it all begins. But Robbie, go ahead and say what you get ready.
Yeah, I mean, the standard needs to be for everybody. Until you're ready to make those type of adult situations that come along with sex, keep your legs closed and keep your genitalia to one another. But the things that I say in the chat, I stand firm on that. If you're gonna be having sex, number one, learn to keep your mouth shut. Everybody does not need to know everybody that you're sleeping with, how you moving, what you doing, how you grooving. Number two, you need to use all the protection, not just, oh, well, I wore a condom and she might be on birth control. She needs to be on birth control. You need to be wearing a condom. There needs to be a spermicidal film. You need to use the Holy Trinity and protect yourself from making a momentary decision be a lifelong decision and responsibility. See, that's what we are not teaching nowadays. Like, we could talk to we blue in the face about what people should and shouldn't do. The reality is kids are going to still do whatever it is that they want to do. And especially when the collar is held too tight when they're in the home. As soon as they get a taste of freedom, they're going to break all the way out that mold. I think for me as a parent, I'm being real enough with my children to know that they're going to do things that they want to do, because not only do they have free will, they also have the societal and the cultural influence. So I'm going to arm them with all the tools that they need to put themselves always in the best position. And I think the legacy that my family comes from, it sets a different tone. My mother didn't have me till she was 26. I didn't have my first child till I was 32 and married. So for my children, that sets a different parameter. They know they can't walk in my house in 18 years talk about something they pregnant. They know they can't have no kids before they walk across no stage, because that's not the standard set by the family. So we need our older women as well to be very careful about what they present into their children. Don't have men in and out of your house. I'm not telling you live your life, do whatever you want to do. Keep that outside of the purvey of your children. Show them the way you carry yourself as an adult. That's going to shape your daughters, how they allow men to interact with them. That's going to shape your son, how they interact with women. And it's going to shape the choices that your children make in the future. But I always got love for the show. I got to run.
Thank you, Robbie. And I agree with that. We should be examples, but the only thing is I don't think things should go unsaid. I do think we still should. I don't totally agree with the fact that everybody is not listening. I think there are some people out there that have no direction and they are looking for someone to say something that just clicks. Not everybody, of course, because you do know the world and the social medias and all those outside influences have a greater influence on your children a lot of times. So that is
Yes,
true.
ma'am.
That's very true. But I just still think that there are some young ladies out there and men that are looking for something or someone to give them direction. And
And I think that you are excuse me, the absolute bomb. Like, I don't always agree with every word of what you say, but the vast majority, I'm talking about like 95.999% of what you say.
thank
We
you,
right here. So,
thank you, Robbie.
thank you for having me. Love you, Jedi, and I'll see y'all
Love
later.
it too.
All right. Thanks,
Love it
Robbie.
too.
Bye-bye.
And if I just want to go into that point talking about the equal accountability. The point again, going referring back to the topic about free will and decision making and stuff, is that the reason why I feel like you had that topic as a standard is that in our culture, what we see a lot, we see a lot of excuses, we see a lot of complaining. I don't want to hear anything from black women or black men complaining, complaining about the state that we are in today, when you want to saying that we are free and everything, we are able to make our decisions and not accept those consequences that we put ourselves in the place that we are in today. It's the same thing as men. I don't want to hear saying that, well, these women for the streets, but yet I check your credit card payments and you got OnlyFans subscriptions. I don't want to see that, you saying that, oh, we're the leaders and stuff, what we looking for wives, but yet you put your seed in the trash can. I don't want to see the fact that of women, when you want to try to disrespect your bodies and complain that, well, I need a man just to look good and everything like that, but yet is he actually a man of character, foundation, knowing that he ain't gonna just pump and dump and leave, he's gonna stay. It's just, again, both of you gotta have accountability. It's the point that I don't want to see us as a community complaining, and yet we have all these excuses that we have in our culture that we and it just keeping this pattern of just going on and on in this circle of this narrative that's saying that, oh well, we're not actually the contributors of the problem that we always complain about, especially in this space. So it's like it's frustrating to me, especially I talked to Bloomy, Ebony, Cheeky, and Cams that like we're in panels with conversation with people who are like 10, 20 years our senior, and yet we're watching and we're listening to the things they're saying. Like, listen, we're in the age where you saying you messed up, and yet we're telling you, say, listen, I'm hearing the conversation you're having. Like, well, you are the exact result of your decision that you say. So, and especially on the women's point, with the feminism, you're the most free, most liberated group of women in the face of planet in recorded history, and yet it's because of social media. What we see, you're the most miserable. Why? Why is that? So again, it goes back to that freedom. You're not accepting what comes with that.
Well, not only that, they thought that being liberated sexually would actually fill that void.
Yeah, but also to the point they dupe on that level, saying, well, if the man can do it, why can I do it? It's like, no, there's reason. Like, I don't consider them as men. I consider them as grown males without a diaper. I just don't. Like, that's the thing. It's just that we have to, on a man's point of view, we have to redefine what is a man, what is actually masculinity. So the whole theme, you being a sexually liberated man, that you being a leader and you being a man of character and integrity and foundation, like, I don't consider that. You're not invited to the golf course. You're not invited to the Knights of the Round Table with us. In my opinion, I just feel like that's what we have to do. So when they're saying, well, what about those men? I don't claim them. Just as in this space, when you don't claim women, when we're talking about who exhibit this behavior, it's like, well, I'm not those women. And then that's the point, because there are a lot of girls and not actually a true woman.
Absolutely. So Jay Prince, put that food down.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm just kidding with you. But listen, Jay Prince, I happen to know that you totally disagree with that young man just said above. Instead of having some discipline, you think having sex is just nature.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so take your time and explain to us what you wanted to say. I don't want to change what you were wanting to say, but kind of address that also within what you were getting ready to say.
I just believe that, okay, the only reason why we have to have discipline is because of the laws set in place by other groups of men. However, that's not our nature. But since we living in a new world under a new law, we have to abide by that. The only reason why we have to abide by that, because the laws that's set in place by other groups of people don't make those laws is correct. But since we have those laws, we have to run and we have to maneuver around our natural position that we have amongst men and women. So now, one side, they made the laws whereas the women, they could get away with having sex. They could get away with doing whatever they want to with sex. Whereas the men, we get looked at as criminals. We get treated as criminals.
So let me ask you a question first. But before we do that, let me read this. Captain Executive has given me a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for Captain Executive for doing that. He says the pair character sliding on the floor on his knees saying go. I said that's me. I see that. Thank you, Captain. So listen, Jay Prince, I want to ask this question. When you say the women get away with things sexually, can you tell me what it is you think that they're getting away with?
With accountability. For one, women is the one have to consent to sex.
Correct.
Women is the one have to consent to unprotected sex.
Correct.
So also, women is the one to say that this is my body, and if I want to keep this child, I can.
Correct.
If I don't want to keep this child, I don't have to.
Right.
So at that point, when she decides, after a man tell her, after just a one night stands and meeting at the club or whatever have you, and a man says, well, I think you should get rid of it, and she decides to keep it, at that point, that child is hers. Women walking around here all the time and saying, this is my child, this is my child, that child is completely hers. I don't think that the men should be responsible for it. And I also don't believe that the system should be responsible for what she did in the bedroom. Knowing that she have all of this stuff set in place to prevent from having children. You have plan B. They see men only got but like 2 ways to prevent from having babies. Not having sex, which is unnatural, or wearing a condom. What was people doing before condoms became to an existence?
Condoms been out a long time, Jay
It's
Prince.
been out for a long
A
time,
long
but there was
time.
a point in time that it was no such thing as condoms.
But listen, Jay Prince, this is where we're talking about a standard. We're trying to set a standard,
Oh, okay.
a standard for your life. Because
Uh-huh.
you can do anything you want, right? Because this is the deal. I don't think that any black man or any man should be subject to a law. You don't have to be subject to any law. You can control your own life and you don't have to be subject to what somebody else says. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Right. Yeah.
Now, the way you do that is this. You can be selective with who you decide to sleep with. You can say, okay, this woman, I wouldn't let her, I don't even want her to be able to smell me, let alone have my child. You have a right to do that. Is within your right to do that. But once you decide that you don't care about who you sleep with, you don't care about who catches your sperm, you don't care about what womb you put it in, you just gave up your right and made yourself subject to the laws that we all have to live within. We all have to live within these laws, but we all don't have to be subject to them. You know what I mean by that?
Yes,
We
I
know
do.
that they're there. Like, you know, you're driving down the street, you got stop signs, red lights, all these things, speeding signs and all of that. You abide and you see these signs, but you don't ever have to get a ticket. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying about the women. When a woman makes a decision whether to, and we're not going to delete a baby or to have a baby, there is still a great amount of consequence that comes with that. I don't know why you would think that that is an easy thing for a woman to do. I don't, you know, and if they have gotten so it's easy, then again, that is an emotional trauma that we need to deal with on another day, because that's big. If you can do that and it affects you in no way, that's a big thing. That's huge.
But my thing is, being the person that's in control of the whole situation, as the woman,
Mhm.
she's in control of the whole situation.
No, she's not.
What I mean is, let's just say us men is just dogs. But okay, I'm gonna put it in perspective. Like, okay, if you have a 15-year-old son and a 10-year-old boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they go outside, they go to the store, and the 15-year-old, the 10-year-old tells the 15-year-old, let's steal these couple of pieces of candy and cake and soda. The 15-year-old, you expect the 15-year-old, by him being older than a 10-year-old, to say, no, we're not going to be steal. That's wrong. We're going to buy it. If we can't buy it, we're going to leave the store. But what happens if the 15-year-old still steals the candy based off what the 10-year-old said? Who would you hold more accountable? You would hold both accountable, but who would you, as their parent, hold more accountable? Because the 15-year-old have more width than the 10-year-old.
I mean, that's something I would have to know about those two, because that may not necessarily be the case.
Yeah, that's because also in that scenario, they're both children.
The 15-year-old may not be that. The 15-year-old may not be that smart, or may not.
All I'm just trying to insinuate that women has the ultimate say so, the last say so.
I agree with you with that, Jay Prince.
Yeah.
Listen, don't think ever that we're not in agreement with that. But what I'm saying to you though, there is no way a baby can be made if there is no sperm. And
oh my bad, I'm sorry.
And if you don't want your sperm to be used, then you don't have to drop your sperm off.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Listen, this is Jay Prince. This is what I'm trying to say to you, because this is the part I think you miss when we talk, because we don't get to talk. It'd be so much stuff going on. We're talking about a standard of living. I want better for you than what you've been doing. because I want you to have control of your life. All these other two men that are around you and all other men, I want them to have control over your life. But instead, what you continuously do is you give your power away to a woman, and then you expect her to treat you like kid gloves, like she love you. She don't love you because she never had a relationship with you. She don't even know you. It was a dump. What you call it? How y'all say it? Dump and pump, pump and dump,
Dump and pump.
pump and dump. There's no relationship there. She cares nothing about you, but you're giving your whole life to her. And I'm telling you, I would love for you to have control of your own life and want better for yourself. But it's almost like you're saying, I can't have no better. This is me. This is my nature. And as far as your nature go, God did make you a male, but now it's time to grow up and be a man. And as a man, you decide what you want to do with your stuff.
But that's the thing. The only reason why we having these issues is not because of how God created it. It's not really because of women. It's because of certain laws by other groups of men that's no different from me or you. Other groups of men took charge and said, okay, we're gonna punish the men, we're gonna favor the women. That's the only. And how long do we always gotta, my thing is, as men, how long we gotta continue to allow these groups of men, why do we gotta continue to maneuver around their laws? Like, we not put on the planet to operate in a frame of what they say goes. I'm as a man and as a black man, I know other men like Jedi or Scam, you know, they willing to submit to that. But I'm not willing to submit to no other man to telling me how I should operate within myself, within what I want to do, because I'm not put on this planet to please or abide by them. And I don't agree in that book when they say follow the laws of the land. No, I'm not put. My spirit, God gave me my spirit, because I believe that if God didn't want me to have children, God would have never allowed me to have them. Because there's a lot of men out there trying to have kids. They trying their hardest to have children, but God didn't let it come through. Okay, so if God allowed me, it's good. It's valid.
Okay, hold that thought. I'm gonna do this super chat right here. Thank you, Scam. How you doing over there? What you covering your face for? Scam Likely, thank you so much for your $20 super chat. He says, dust refund check from the Dustathon 22 last night. Thank you for your service. You're so silly. Thank you for your service. Listen, Jedi, JP, we're gonna come back to you in just a second. But go ahead, Jedi. Go ahead and say what you get ready to say.
Yeah, I want to target the point where you're saying about your nature and everything, saying that men nature and stuff like that. I want to understand that when you talk about scripture, take all that out. You being ruled by terms of flesh, i.e. your sexual nature, you are the easiest type people to control. Just as someone, where if you're greed, well, guess what? I'm going to use money to persuade you. When you use things such as temptation, you're like one of the easiest type people to control because you lack discipline. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying when you use that argument saying about by nature, we're animals. We're animals, right? But also, we also come with a level of higher intelligence and with the brain that hopefully leads to development where we able to determine your decisions. And I keep hearing this stuff about the laws and stuff like that. I am here to tell you, as much as we keep talking about this system, the laws are not going to change. They will not change. They're not going to change. Saying about in terms of the age that we're in, about with with in terms of the women's with their reproductive rights and all this stuff. As you see, we're having this conversation every 4 years with different term and different political agenda being spread over and over again. My point I'm saying this is that when talk about you following the laws of the land, is don't you just turn you abiding by it, saying this, I don't have to abide in terms of into the family legal talking about reproductive rights and everything, her taking away my children, if I don't engage in that. For example, meaning that if I do the necessary work in determining who I'm putting my seed into, I will not be in that predicament in the first place. But again, that goes back to discernment. I'm saying you play this relationships, marriage, especially in this country that you play. It's a game of risk. There's sometimes risk, high risk, high reward sometimes. But then also to a point, even just you giving your heart to somebody, that is a risk. You sleeping with someone, even might be for, you think it's just as just might be for one night stand, whatever. That comes with risk. And again, what we're talking about with the standard is that no longer are we going to set mediocrity as the standard in our culture as Black people. A lot of times we keep saying, well, it is what it is. And like, no, I have hope for Black people, especially for the Black men, saying, hey, listen, you have every right as a man that you have to know who you are. No longer what you're going to say, well, I'm subjected by the government law, so now I'm just holding bondage. Like, no, you take control of your body. You have the right for that. And yet when you partake in terms of the woman you're in a relationship with, you have decreased in discernment in that. But don't use that argument saying, oh, by our nature, we're just, we just can know out, or we can just have sex with it. You can control that. If you can't control that, that's going to you being weak-minded. That is just my personal opinion.
Can I respond to that before I forget?
Go ahead, man. Yeah.
One, I want to say you cannot control nature. Now, since we living in a country where nature has been weaponized against us, that's where the issue come in. But what I'm hearing from Jedi is what Blacks been doing for a long time is fear. These people places fear in us, and he's saying that we can't do this because of the laws and because of this and because of this, not because of nature, but because of a fear of what can happen to us if we decide to have sex and create babies and all this other stuff. Also, when you saying the law is not going to change, I like to argue that because back post from 2022 when we had the civil rights movements and all this other good stuff, when racism was way heavier than what it is now. It was a lot of stuff that they thought they couldn't get changed, but it did. The problem is a lot of us Black men, and particularly Black men, we gave up a fight. We just willing to sit back and allow anything. And now, by us just sitting back and just whatever they come up with, we just accept it and maneuver around it and abide by it and obey it, even though it's wrong. How long are we going to continue to sit back and allow stuff that we know is completely wrong? No, we is not willing, as of 2022, and I'm speaking for a lot of Black men, because it's about time for us Black men to stop laying on our backs.
You're on your own, buddy.
Laying on our backs and continue to allow crap after crap after crap, and then say, okay, whatever they come up with, before you know it, one of they pass a law and say, well, we expect all you Black men to wear dresses. Well, we gonna start wearing dresses? No. It's gonna we gotta at one point in time, Jedi, we gotta.
I'm gonna respond to you after you're done. I'm gonna respond after you're done. Cause you said
everybody love to say Black man is powerful, Black people is powerful, and all this other stuff. When is we gonna show that power? When we gonna kick back? Because I guarantee you, can't no Black man or no Black race make no other race in America do something that's against what they believe. But yet they can always do it to us.
So Jay Prince, before you say something, Jedi, Prince, I got a question or two for you. So do you think now child support was around before you? It came before you, way before you. You only 36 years old?
Right. Yeah. 37.
Yeah. Child support was before you.
Uh-huh.
So you actually think that child support was put into place for a Black man?
No, white men was receiving child support, but I think with Black, was getting child support as well. But I think when it comes to the Black people, it hit us harder.
You're exactly right. And I'm going to tell you why it hit us harder, because we're not living up to a standard. That's what we're saying. See, listen. Whose standard? You got to create one for yourself. You have to say, well, let me say this, because this is how it goes. Every time you speak, you actually, and I believe you actually think that every Black woman is a part of some system, receive some kind of government assistance. This is just how you speak. I'm sure you don't really think that, but I'm gonna let you tell me if you do or not. And I think you think that every man is just like you. And there's a whole big world out there that's not the case. And we're trying to share with you that there's a whole nother world out there that doesn't move like you move. The women are not like the women that you have surrounded yourself with. And we don't think that way because the system has been there before you were there. That law of child support was put in place for a reason. Now, if you're saying that Black people are more subject to it, what you're saying is that, and I hate to say this, you're saying that more Black men or women don't take care of their kids, because that was the purpose initially. And it's to make money, of course, but the purpose of it is supposed to fill in the gap to take care of the children. And I said to you last night, I don't want you to be a part of the system. Why do you have to be a part of this system? Because I shouldn't have to tell you, go get your kids, Jay Prince, take care of your kids. You know that, and you do that. So why do we have this system in place to make you do that? And you told me why. Your situation is different.
See, it's something hidden, security boss.
Okay.
A lot of us, we just looking at it, the money and whatever we can afford and all this other stuff. But one thing that we are missing with the reason why us black men getting targeted so hard with this, because I like to think a little deeper. I think it's kind of population control. Because if I abide by all of these rules and all of this stuff, and let's just say a lot of black men in America, and respectfully, black men don't have that much money.
I'm gonna respond when you're done. Yeah.
Black men is not that equipped with knowledge, money, and all this other stuff as a collective. If we all abide by that policy and that rule, if we won't have that many children, it won't be that many black people, period. That's another tool to wipe out the black race, to me, to keep the population.
If I may respond, okay, to you,
go ahead,
because I want to go back to one point you were talking about. Me, you saying that one where I was talking about the political system. You saying I was trying to bring about fear. I did not bring up the political system in this conversation. You did. Now, that's why you started with what you were talking about. Then when you kept talking about saying, well, you can't control you can't control nature. That is absolutely inaccurate. You're saying that we are subjugated by nature, but we're not controlled by nature, meaning that you have every right. You're saying where's the power of us as men where we can claim terms, what we can do ourselves. That's what we're talking about. You increasing in self-discipline regardless of the laws. It's saying that the power is in me in terms of who I part my seed into, right? So when you keep using the excuse of nature, you're not in power. You're not in power. And yet you're talking about the system, everything you saying is against you. Okay, let's say that. Why would you play the game of a system you know is rigged? Why would you play it? Because you're the one that's saying engaging into that, but and we're talking about recklessly. A lot of people are going into having these sexual interactions with each other, not the intent of making children. That go back to what I was saying, oops, babies. So then when you complain back, which I talked about again, us as black people, we keep wearing this narrative of excuses instead of accountability, self-reflection, and you become the best version of yourself is realizing I'm not going to use the excuse of the law saying that, well, I don't have control. I am in control because I am disciplined. I'm holding a standard for me. When you're talking about for women, they are women that hold a standard for themselves that, hey, I'm not going to give my womb up to somebody and give him the highest honor, which is bearing his child. And then yet when I just pick some random dude and then I get a child, I'm going to use the benefit of the system, to basically take advantage of him and everything like that. No, I'm going to increase in terms of my discipline as a woman and making sure that I'm going to choose a man or your marriage, whatever it might be. I'm not saying that was for you, but just saying that I'm going to choose a man that, hey, if we interact in sexual intercourse, right, will I be happy that my son or daughter, that this is their father? Same thing for men. If I get a girl pregnant, can I go sleep at night knowing that this woman is the mother of my child? We do not have that conversation, and we don't hold that standard to ourselves. Hence is where where we are as a people in our culture, right? I'm not talking about what other races of people do. Screw that. I'm talking about us. It's our house. It's our house, and we let it astray, and we have effed it up because we are not holding the order. Black people, we have fallen out of order in terms of what we can do, hold a standard for ourselves. So when you're talking about the system, don't hold by that. Screw the laws. We hold the law.
Wait a minute, JP. Let me read the super chat. Hey, Gia, how are you? So she's saying, so paying to provide life and sustenance for your child is oppression. The bar is low. Thank you so much for your $4.99 super chat. But JP, before you go on, DP, did you have something you wanted to add right there before we go back to Jay Prince?
You're talking about me?
I'm sorry, DP.
Sorry, it's hard to keep my blood pressure down listening to this level of dust. This is worse than what I heard on the Dustathon last night, and that's what
I'm glad he's communicating.
I'm actually glad. Thank you for coming here. Thank you.
I appreciate the fact that you're talking.
Now
No, no problem.
I'm trying to almost even get some word, but I'm gonna start with something positive.
Yes.
Security boss, I
Yes,
saw
sir.
everything when you came over there last night. One, thank you for showing up.
Thank
Because
you.
there's 10 spots on the panel, and if you weren't there, it would be somebody else. And you already know what a somebody else would have been. It would have been more dust. You came in good faith to communicate with some men your belief of femininity, of supporting your husband. You held accountability. You did everything. You actually came over there as the standard. And it was a shame that you received backlash and that the people still saw you as an enemy because you're just another black. And I'm like, you know what? If she comes over here saying, hey, I advocate for men first, and I try to speak to women, which is true. I'm married 20-something years. I made these mistakes, and I got evidence and documentation, whatever. Like it got to the point where almost during the day, say, security boss, what's that name? My husband gave me that to me. My husband leads me. I submit to my husband. I'm feminine. He runs the show. You did everything right. And it's like, still, they wanted to tear that down. I'm like, well, what do some of these dudes want? Now I dust off women. At first, I dust off myself in the mirror. I dust off women, and I dust off Dusties as far as men too. I just want to say thank you for coming over and enduring the level of abuse because it was unacceptable.
Abuse, bro.
Jay Prince, I would not allow, if I had a girlfriend, I would not want them coming over. I would say, let these dudes be. Don't go over there and even listen to this. Let them dust themselves off.
Oh, man.
Because it was unacceptable. Absolute. That's why I troll.
I don't see nobody get disrespected.
No, trust me. You know who security boss is. Was that the energy that she should have received coming over there? When you can't even get other women I'm not talking about just you. And I know you. You're a good dude. That's why I can talk to you. Sometimes, you get my blood pressure up.
Yeah.
You're doing it now. But I know you. I know you're coming in good energy, trying to do good things. And like you said, how you grew up and what you come from wasn't what it was. We get that. But I'm just saying, thank you, security boss, to start. That's why I had to troll, because they weren't going to share the mic over there. No way.
No, they wouldn't. They was not.
Why not just troll them? I mean, why not? That's why it was me playing the violin when they was, when in doubt, just troll. But anyway, outside of the dustosphere, it's this simple. It's an A or B. When you decide you want some vagina and you say, I want it raw. When you do that, there are consequences. You can die. Your meat can get rotisserie. Or you can pop out a kid that out here any kind of way with that woman. If a man can't, and I don't care what the system in the sky and the black man in 1826, if that's the decision you want to make, that is what you're going to have to deal with. It's not going to, actually, it's going to change. It's going to get worse. Rotisserie rates are going to be 1 out of 3. Condoms sales are going down. And I'll give you an example, because I actually don't like sharing my own business. Usually last week or the week before, I met a chick online. She was cool. She was pretty. Try to give a chance. Yes, she said she had kids, but she spoke a good game. Then she talks to, oh man, everything is all cool. And yeah, I'm really into you. And then of course she's asking, so when are we going to get this work in? But, I'm allergic to latex and I don't like any sheepskins. And when the last time, I'm like, hold on a second. So are you talking about unprotected? Yeah, but how about no? Just no. Why can't people do that? I'll go home with dry meat. I'm good. But I'm not messing up. No, we're not messing up my money for the next 18 years. My meat ain't getting cooked. And I'm not going to be inside the courtroom every Tuesday and Thursday. No. Why can't people make that decision?
Okay.
Go ahead, JP.
It's not no nature thing. And even if you want to knock some buttons down, get a condom, is it too much? I'm just saying. Or I'm done. That's it.
All right, JP,
We're
go.
gonna go to the rest of it.
Okay, the question I have for Jedi, then I want to make a statement after this towards the abuse thing. If we didn't have these laws and rules that's in place, I know everybody like to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Would this even be a conversation? No, it wouldn't. I don't think so. This one, if we wouldn't have never had these rules and laws that punish men and all this other good stuff and try to populate control, particularly the black community, this wouldn't be a conversation.
So what do you mean? The conversation of a standard wouldn't be? We wouldn't be talking like that if there was.
You mean by that?
It won't be looked at as men got 14 kids or a woman got 14 kids. It won't be a problem because it would be. It won't. We only looking at this like it's a problem because they made it a problem. The system and the laws that's in place made it a problem. But
let me say this really quick to that.
Some laws are you're basing laws that they're not moral. Like
I don't follow man law. I follow my God's law. And
right,
but
the answer to self-defense question you're basing off of immoral.
I don't live to get approval from no other man.
I'm not arguing that. I'm saying you're basing it off of a system that is immoral. Like you're saying,
right, but this submission that you're trying to ask us men, black men particularly,
Jay, they're going to take everything from you.
As
everything.
Like a woman. No, I'm going to fight against that system at every chance I get. They
so Jay
Prince control and dictate me. Period.
So
we
Jay
did that for 500 years. We've been
to lose it all.
Laws and rules for 500 years, and what good came out of it?
Jay,
nothing. So
Jay,
I'm just going to live my life how God want me to live it. Not
Jay
how they want me
to answer your question. To answer your question, though, you're right. If we took the system completely away, and if I recall a time when there was no child support laws, I do. But when that happened, what happened is the men generally were straight up providers. They worked hard. They worked 2 and 3 jobs. If they had a family on the left and they had one on the right, they was leaving money with the woman on the left and they were leaving money with the woman on the right. And they took care of their kids. Now they wasn't there as daddies, but they took care of their kids. They dropped money off, and they kept it moving to the next one. You're exactly right. All the people, he had a wife over here and a side chick over here, which we call a girlfriend. She might have had 4 or 5 of his kids, and he might have had 5 by his wife, but he had a wife. And if there was one that was not taken care of, or a mother that wasn't sufficient to take care of a child, he would go get that child and bring that one home to his wife, and that wife would have taken care of that child. And guess what? Would nobody have known that that was the side chick's child? It would have been secret.
Was it better that way or now?
No, I'm just telling you that's how it was. Now, if you did that, you're exactly right. No one would be talking to you about this because you would be taking care of your child. So you're exactly right. But that's not what's happening right now. When you decide you don't want to take care of one, you just walk away. Not you particularly. Men just walk away. And nobody. Oh, that's my music, because it's time for us to end the show. We don't.
Can I make one statement before we end?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, with the abuse, I ain't going to cut you off, but I want to respond to the abuse part. I don't think DP. It was. I think with this, what we had yesterday. It's I would say 50 years built up of frustration that a lot of men have went through, and for a lot of years we couldn't speak up. We had to accept. Men had to accept a lot of abuse and not say nothing. And so what we had yesterday, all of that abuse. I mean, all of what you heard was the pain from black men. That's not abuse. What was said yesterday was a lot of pain, and because a lot of, and not just this stuff is happening to us, but we got family members and people who we know and parents who we know. That's all of that. We indoctrinated all these other people pain, and so when we had that conversation yesterday, that's what came out.
No, but what he's saying is, I'm your ally. If I'm an advocate, And I'm telling you, listen, I agree with you. And I'm telling
He's
you
on our side.
I'm telling you what to do about these women, and you can't even hear me. You got to come towards me this way and talk over me. That's his point he's trying to make. He's trying to make that
there
point.
to help.
I don't think. Well, I must speak
She's
for me.
not feminist
It
movement.
wasn't that I was coming at you.
No, I'm not necessarily talking about you. I know your heart. I know you're a good dude. I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, she came to help, and she took abuse. She endured the abuse for the help of people like you and for other people for the system.
Well, I think a big part of it, and we're gonna, you know what, y'all come and join me tomorrow with Black Men Unfiltered tomorrow at 7:30. We're gonna continue this conversation. It's gonna be a conversation because I appreciate the way you all are talking. There's no screaming, no hollering. Jay Prince, I appreciate the way you're communicating, and I can hear what you're saying. So thank you for that.
I know you're gonna give me an order when I come over here. I love you.
Hey JP, happy Father's Day, bro.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, that's what we want.
The man had to tell me happy Father's Day. That's what's up. What happened to the woman telling me?
I did tell you. I told her.
So will you watch the stream earlier?
No, I just woke up. I'm at work though. I just woke up.
But listen, guys, we're gonna go. But Jay Prince beat y'all. Come tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern. We're gonna talk about this. It's the Black Man's my co-host. We're gonna take our time and we're gonna tell everyone what the my expectations are for men and women, because I do agree with the men. I do agree that the women are out of order, but we got to work with both sides. Because guess what, Jay Prince? You're just as accountable, or you need to be held just as accountable for what you've done, just as the women in your life also.
Bingo.
All right. So Jedi, this was an excellent show. I thank you so much for being a part of the Standard. And DP, you know you always welcome, and I appreciate you in everything that you've said. And Jay Prince, I thank you so much for being here. And I love the way that you conducted yourself today. And I know what it is. We just got to talk to you when the sun is out. When the sun goes down, I think you lose your mind. But
Security bar. I told you it was a jungle.
It's a jungle.
Yeah, it's a jungle over
I
there.
know what you was talking about.
It's real over there.
We appreciate it all. It's just everybody ain't there yet. That's why we're here. So we're gonna continue to work on it. But guys, listen. Chat, I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Come back tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern. Black Men and myself. We're gonna continue this and we're gonna get something done. We're gonna understand. Once we can understand each other, I really think we can start to make it better. But for now, we don't understand each other. So how about that? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a good evening.
Yeah, I'm watching the rise, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked, cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride, this one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife, could've left 1,000 times just so by my side. This one's for the grind, I knew it would happen, just had the strength in my mind. To the videos, they thought I was a black guy. That's hard to get over. I'm foreigner in the sport, but I'm fully devoted. I don't take it for granted that the door's been open. I knew I was different, I knew I was chosen. A breadwinner, but I'm soft-spoken. Authentic like a 5950 and there's no cap. Let's have a toast to that. Let's have a toast for the